Foldable phones, are they the thing or are they just a fad? We're going to be talking about that next on the 5 tech things you should know about for August 10th, 2023. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek, and you got me. Today we've got a lot of great news, and then we're going to talk about foldable phones, so let's get right into your tech news. The Apple rumor mill is churning. It's time for the 15th installment of the iPhone, which is really not the 15th version with all the G's and the S's and the Plus models, along with the, I have no idea if they're going to make another mini-me iPhone. We're probably looking at the iPhone 7243. Safe. Nonetheless, the interwebs are excited because of the action button that could be on the side of the phone. This is a button that we could get programmed to what you need it to do. Now, in all reality, that usually means Apple will limit it to 4 or 5 things to their choosing. And there will be long presses, there'll be half presses, and there'll be the ever so tricky press. I have a hard time believing Apple will be putting another physical button on. I'd rather see a haptic slide button, if anything, also replacing those volume buttons. And hopefully this button will also be the long wished for by some biometric fingerprint reader. As for functionality, a lot of people want a camera shutter. I'm not sure why. It already has one with at least one button, if I can ever remember which button it is. Besides, I like the watch for my camera shutter. I use it all the time with 3-second count, so I can use the front face camera. Another rumored change is a switch to USB-C from Lightning. Now, to be clear, if this is not USB 4 or Thunderbolt port, a lot of people will just not be happy about that transfer rate ability. With the new A17 Bionic chip in Pro models, I'm guessing they will be limiting the iPhone on what you can do with USB-C. For example, with your iPad and the upcoming iOS 17, you'll be able to use an external camera on FaceTime, but not too many other programs. I would be surprised if you could use an external camera on your iPhone. There is a split rumor that Wi-Fi 6E might be coming to certain models of the phone, the Pro models that would be. The Apple modem chips were just not ready yet, so they will be using the Qualcomm chips for 1 more year. 6E speeds means that if you have a 6E router, you can get 300 megabits per second send and receive. Your Zoom calls will not skip as much, and that's a good thing. There are other rumors on the MacBook M3 chips, which I talked about a couple weeks ago, and the new Apple Watches. The press date has not been announced. Last year it was on September 7th, and in 2021 it was September 14th. And of course, I wouldn't be surprised if that announcement goes out right after I publish this video. It always happens that way. But what are you thinking is going to be at the Apple press event in September? Let me know in the comments below. Is this the ultimate irony? Zoom tells employees, hey, you gotta come back to the office. No, you just gotta come back. For real. For real. And I'm actually siding with Zoom on this one. In a surprise move, Zoom, the video conference company, has asked certain employees to return back to the office. They're requiring those that live within 50 miles of a physical office to work in person 2 days a week, starting in August. The decision has been met with a lot of mixed reactions from employees. The main concern is about the impact on their work-life balance and commute to and from the office. It's 2 days, folks. Come on. Zoom CEO Eric Yuan says that the company believes a hybrid approach is the best way to maintain a strong culture and to continue to innovate. Some say this would open employees to start looking for new jobs. Some think this could shift highly skilled workers to leave those positions and cause chaos within the company. But here's the realities. 1. People don't want to change. If they like their jobs and the employees they work with, most will stay right where they are. Once again, 2 days. 2, if you have a bunch of people jumping into the find me a new job pool, then you have to shock that pool a lot because it's going to get pretty darn full and nobody's going to find a new job. And in all reality, how many other companies are going to stay 100% virtual? Zoom is not the first company to do this, but they are the most impactful company because their whole point of the company is to be more mobile. Some people can thrive on being in an at-home environment. I've personally done it for almost 16 years now. And while there are a lot of pros to it, I feel the cons can really outweigh, especially if you are working on teams to get certain jobs done. I have worked with some virtual teams that start stepping all over each other, resulting in projects that take longer and in the end come out with very shoddy work. I know one virtual worker that actually picked up another remote job while they were making a salary at a company. Now, if you're supposed to be devoting 40 hours to one company, is it okay to spend half of that time working for someone else? It remains to be seen how many Zoom employees will actually comply with the new policy. The company has said that it will be flexible with the employees who have extenuating circumstances. However, it is clear that Zoom is no longer the remote work champion it once was. So what are your thoughts? Would you head to the office for 2 days? Let me know in the comments below. All right, let's get you a history break right now. Founded in 1993, Red Hat had provided open source software for IT pros. The company filed for IPO on August 11th of 1999 to try and keep things as open as possible. It turned out to be one of the largest Wall Street gains in history. They put up 900,000 shares of common stock, and Red Hat spiked at $136 a share. Since then, IBM acquired the company officially in 2019 and kept Red Hat as a subsidiary and open source. On August 12, 1981, the IBM 5150 home PC rolled out to consumers. These machines were sold via Computerland and Sears retail chains as well as through IBM. It would cost you $1,565 for the base model and up to $6,000 for all the cool additions. The PC came with Microsoft CP/M OS. And on August 15, 1877, Thomas Edison created the first audio recording. He recited "Mary Had a Little Lamb" on the phonograph. The recording wasn't preserved, so Edison re-recorded that rendition on August 12th of 1927. And that's your tech history for this week. Google and Universal Music are in talks to develop technologies that detect and prevent AI-generated audio and video content. Therefore, if you see someone like Brian Williams reporting news on a non-official website or channel, Google can quickly debunk if that is actually him and not a Jimmy Fallon rap. The technology would use AI to analyze audio and video files for signs of manipulation. A deepfake database would be created that would hold tons of videos of a specific person to match up the sources that they could have been taken from. Because let's face it, the reality of someone deepfaking me is fairly low. It's not zero. The deal between Google and Universal Music is still in the early stages, but it could have a significant impact on forensic sciences for not only news, but also court cases, elections, and a lot more. So I've moved back to episodic content on Geekazine along with the reviews and the unboxings. I need to make these episodes at the 5 Tech Things pop in many different ways so you can find them and you can watch them weekly. You might also have a show on YouTube. One problem that I've always had with the creating of content is all the research of keywords, figuring out the SEOs, or building of thumbnails. That's where TubeBuddy comes in. The features that they offer can help you get discovered in searches. With new AI features like Suggest a Title and Thumbnail Heat Map, you can improve on gaining and retaining your audience. My favorite TubeBuddy feature is SEO Studio. You put in a couple keywords and it's actually going to tell you how to improve your tags, how to improve your descriptions, so your video can be suggested in searches. Check out tubebuddy.com/geek and install for a free trial. That's tubebuddy.com/geek. Now let's get back into the 5 tech things you should know. PayPal took its crypto push further this week when they launched its own stablecoin. It's called PayPal USD or PYUSD or PyUSD. This new digital currency will always be 1-to-1 with the US dollar, so don't expect it to trade like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Dogecoin. It's not going to make you rich by sitting in cyberspace at all. PayPal plans to use PyUSD to make it easier for users to send and receive crypto payments and to make it more convenient for merchants to also accept these payments. This could bring PayPal into more storefronts, along with independent merchants like myself that actually accept PayPal for payment. Being attached to the US dollar, I know it can easily convert payments to cash with only minimal fees. Right now, it's about $5.50 per transfer. Further, this could get someone into cryptocurrencies without the volatile risk that something like Bitcoin would have. It could break some of the myths and concerns about cryptocurrencies. But there still is a question of how anonymous transactions can be. Ultimately, whatever payment you get is going to be recorded in your PayPal account, so you're going to have to justify that on your taxes. PayPal has been one of the most vocal supporters of cryptocurrencies in the traditional financial industry. In 2020, the company began allowing its customers to buy, sell, and hold multiple currencies, and in 2021, PayPal expanded its crypto offering to select merchants. PayPal has a user base of over 400 million active customers, and the crypto offering could be the gateway for consumers to start thinking of these currencies in their daily financials, especially if they're not really thinking that they're using crypto, they're just using PayPal. PiUSD is rolling out slowly over the next few weeks, and it will include Venmo, which is a PayPal subsidiary. And of course, if you do want to tip me, you can definitely do that over at geekazine.com/tip me. That'll go to PayPal or Venmo. Foldable smartphones have been around for a few years now, but they still are relatively new technology. I remember seeing the first screen technologies that could fold and actually curl up within itself at CES. They were fragile and they worked better when rolled up than when folded. At that time, I was still supporting a Windows OS phone. Companies like Samsung are going in a larger than, standard phone screen to turn it into the next craze. And some consumers believe that foldable phones are the future of smartphones, while others think they're just a fad. Ultimately, they're about $500 more expensive than a candy bar phone and probably less tasty too. I don't know. My regular phone's not that tasty. So today we're going to explore the pros and cons of foldable phones, what might need to happen for these to become more accepted, and where can that take us into the future of compact mobile devices. Now, the best part about a foldable phone is they can offer a larger, a smaller, or even an angled screen. You could fold out a screen to get a tablet size. You could fold it back to get the smartphone size. With some, you can flip it in to get a compact size, turn it into a tent mode, and even flip it 90 degrees open to act as either a stand or a second screen, or maybe a touch screen, keyboard, gaming pad, and more. Just a couple weeks ago, Samsung announced the Z Flip 5 and the Z Fold 5. We talked about it on the previous show. The Flip 5 folds down to half the size, and the Fold becomes a mini tablet. The camera on the Z Flip 5 is also a big advantage to the vlogger or selfie taker because it has a screen on the front large enough to put yourself in position. On the flip side, flip. The phones are currently more expensive than traditional smartphones. Manufacturing is mostly to blame for this, so when they are more widely manufactured, prices could go down. Foldable phones are also more fragile than traditional smartphones. The folding mechanism is a weak point, and it does cause a seam in the phone screen. One of the big problems of the Z Flip was how tight the screen pushed together when it was closed. Either dirt in a pocket or if it fell onto a sandy or dirt-filled surface could easily collect particles that ultimately get into the hinge and scratch the screen. Z Flip 5 and Fold 5 introduced a new hinge that could counter the dust and dirt problems as long as the screen is fully closed. And then there's water. The Fold is water resistant, but not waterproof, so don't take it in the shower and be very careful when using it by the pool. An iPhone 14 can be dropped into 19 feet of water for up to 30 minutes. I've heard of some cases where they've been recovered from larger bodies of water and still worked without issue. And never take a phone into the Dead Sea without a waterproof jacket case. That's just way too much sea salt. Any water that can make me float without issue, you probably don't want any electronics in that. Now, if you like all glass screens, then foldable technology might not work for you. These screens are part glass, but they do have a PET plastic protector, so the Fold has a little spline in it. It's not to say that it couldn't change, because Corning has developed an ultra-thin glass solution commercially available, and if they added Gorilla Glass, which is chemically strengthened glass, we could see physics change in the next 5 years. Samsung does have Gorilla Glass on their phones, but it's protecting the camera lens and their new Flex window, which is on the outside of the Flip 5. So now, what's the next question? Is this a fad or is this a need? A report from IDC says that people are desiring the foldable technology. 7.1 million units were shipped in 2021, doubled to 14.2 million in 2022, and expected to be around 30 million by 2025. It could be a lot more than that. That is, if the technology changes, the prices go down, and if other players start to get in the game. Apple. Excuse me. Motorola revived their popular Razr line because of the foldable screen. I had a Razr before my first iPhone. The Razr Plus is impressive, but it doesn't have that nostalgic look or feel that I would want to choose that phone over the Z Flip. Microsoft tried to get in the game with their Surface Duo device. It was basically a tablet that was two separate screens, folded out like a book. Alas, in May of this year, and after 2 iterations, they decided to scrap that idea. Lenovo has a laptop that is basically 2 screens. The Yoga Book has a detachable keyboard to reveal that second screen. You can even leave your keyboard at home and type onto the second surface. Now, of course, when you start typing on a screen, you lose some of that tactile feelings of a keyboard. You can get the screen to vibrate to say the button was recognized, but there's still a lot of people that want that clicky feel of a mechanical keyboard at their fingertips. I'm one of them. Back to the phone, I personally do like the idea of a smaller one in my pocket and one that could fold out to a larger device. But in losing the length or the width, you gain thickness. The Z Flip opens to a 6.5-inch screen, and it is 0.27 inches thick. When closed, the thickness is more than doubles to 0.59. The iPhone 14, in comparison, is 0.30 inches. So is that a Z Flip in your pocket, or are you happy to see me? There are some that don't put their phones in their pocket at all. Purses, backpacks, folios, fanny packs, or butt packs, or whatever you're calling those things nowadays. Some people will just set the phone down on a table before they stuff it in a pant pocket. The bigger thing that people want in a phone is simply one thing that before 2005 wasn't on most phones: a camera. The camera is a big determining factor in phone purchases, and we're not talking how many pixels either. Factors like, how does the camera work in low light? How fast will it focus on a person? And more important, if a person has darker skin, will it recognize them and focus in on them? What will foldable devices give us in the future? First of all, I've been talking a lot about foldable phones, but there's also roll-up screen devices. This would be a phone that if you pulled on one edge, it would reveal more screen space. Roll-ups also have pros and cons. No real backing to the screen for your fingers to touch. It'll be flexible, and the same dust and dirt issues as a foldable will be in play. But a roll-up device could be relatively smaller when collapsed. You just have to figure out where to put all the components to make the retractable screen work, as well as create a seamless large screen. Now, with all that said, I haven't talked too much about Apple getting into the folding game until now. Their official stance as of right now is they're looking into an option. So let's talk about it right now. It would be no surprise to me that Tim Cook would walk on stage at WWDC 2024 and say, we'll have a foldable option by next year. Well, you know that people will sell their souls for that first device. That device would need to have a hinge that's foolproof, glass that doesn't have a mid-seam, and possibly the phone being waterproof. And the first one really doesn't have to be a phone. It could actually be an iPad mini. Call it the iPad mini Fold. 8.3-inch screen that doubles. Even if it was 6.5 inches, that would be a pretty nice iPad to use. And will it fold, or will it unroll via sliding case? Heck, will it blend? Production would also ramp up significantly on foldable phones, so manufacturing costs would start to go down. That still doesn't mean that the phone price would go down, because this is a desired option over a functional phone. Next year, we're going to be geeking out over the Vision Pro. What if that folded in half. Would that make it easier to store and commute with? Smaller. That's the key word here. Foldable technology has been sought after for many years, from IBM ThinkPads that had butterfly keypads to over-the-ear headphones that folded up amongst themselves. Imagine if books didn't fold. How would you carry those around in your backpack? There is no doubt that foldable phones offer a number of advantages over traditional smartphones. If the price comes down, we will have more options and the durability of the phones improve. We could all have a foldable in our pocket. Or talking about the next innovation, which is implanted in your body as a hand phone. Hello? Hello? No, I don't need to re-up my car insurance. Thank you very much. But what do you think about foldable phones? Did you get one? Are you planning on getting one? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. Remember to subscribe to the playlist for 5 Tech Things over at Geekazine. You can do Geekazine and you'll get all the videos. But if you just want the one podcast, that's your option right there. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. We will be back next week when we have another topic to talk about. And until then, you guys geek out and hold on. That's my flip phone thing. Hello? Hello? Is anybody there? Hello? Is anybody there?